Welcome to the MoxStars podcast. I am Menace, one of your hosts, and I'm here with Rampage.
Good evening.
Dude, I love saying your name because it allows me to be the, like my inner WWE announcer comes out when I scream that. I feel like when I say it, like there should be like theme music. There is music that like pops off, but like there should be like pillars of fire and
pyrotechnics. Yeah.
Yep. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the MoxStars podcast, the number one podcast on the internet for Magic the Gathering and Dr. Pepper. And we're really going to make a point of you knowing that today. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so by finding us on YouTube, where you can like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more notifications. You can also find us on all podcasting platforms, where you can leave us a 5-star review to make us look super duper crispy and cool, like a nice crispy Dr. Pepper. You can also support us on Patreon, where you can become an official Pepperhead for $3 a month. Support the show and have your name turned Dr. Pepper Red on the Discord server. That's a reminder, jump on the Discord server. The community has been growing rampantly lately, and we've been hosting games on the server a couple times a week now. Yeah, Rampage, you had a couple games fire off earlier this week, right?
Yeah, getting some regular games in there. Starting to be a reliable place. If you're looking for a game, reach out. Ask, see who's on. We'll get a game in super quick, super easy. Been a lot of fun. Met some cool people. Yeah,
and I don't think, of all the games I've been in, I haven't had a bad one yet. It's a really high rate of just chill dudes playing really good Magic. So hop on there, jump on the Discord server, start a discussion. You like a card, pop it in one of the channels. Let's talk it out. Let's see, get into each other's minds. On this week's episode, Rampage had an amazing idea to show our praise for the one and only God, Dr. Pepper. Praise thee, crisp 23 flavors. We decided to draft our favorite 2-3s in honor of the 23 flavors. So we're gonna pop off here. I actually don't know who's going first.
So I had an idea for that.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're sharing your screen. We can do this as long as you trust me. I promise it's random. If you want to go to the MoxStars YouTube page, see how many followers we have. I haven't looked at this. I'm going to guess odd or even. And if I get it right, I get to go first. If I get it wrong, you get to go first. Is that fair?
That's fair with me.
Okay. I'm going to guess odd.
Ah, I win.
What was it?
578 subscribers.
Okay, it looks like you are up first. So just for starters, we're going to draft our top 5. We're going to go back and forth, picking our favorite 2-3s, some of the most powerful 2-3s. And then we are going to call on the viewers of this to vote on who won that draft. Who got the best cards, who got the coolest cards, who highlighted the coolest stuff. The only thing we've done for Premp ahead of time is discuss this idea. We have no idea what the other one is picking. So if my top 5 get sniped, I'm going to have to come up with something quick on the fly. So part of what we're going to do is discuss these cards, provide our justification for why it's the coolest, trying to convince you, the viewer, to hand us your vote.
Very concisely put. I'm so stoked because, like you said, if we snipe each other's like best 2-3s, I came up with, I think I have 12 that I'm ready for.
That's so funny. I have exactly 12. I don't know why. There's no reason. Why 12 of them?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 12.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. First pick is in. Menace is on the clock. Well, Menace is on the clock. First pick is in. My first pick is Selvala, Heart of the Wilds. So Selvala, if you're unfamiliar, 1 and 2 green. It is a Elf Scout 2/3. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, its controller may draw a card if its power is greater than each other creature's power. So it can help your opponents if they lay a big fatty on the field, but most of the time you put Selvala in a deck and you're the one laying fatties down. So then you can pay a green. This is the important ability. You can pay a green, tap, add X mana in any combination of colors where X is the greatest power amongst creatures you control. Now, wah. This can allow for some like really explosive turns. The card belongs in cEDH decks. It is its own cEDH deck. There are plenty of combos around it that allow for like a bunch of untapped Shenans. But Selvala is just this perennial all-star, and it just so happens to be a 2/3. That is my first pick.
Thank you, Dr. Pepper, for the 2/3. Yeah, this probably was the premier cEDH choice before Lumra for Mono Green.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, you had Lumra, Selvala, and then the green flash enabler.
Yep.
I can't. Oh, and then you had Yisan, Wandering Bard. But I can't quite remember the name of the Flash. Yeva, there we go.
Yeva. Yeah, 2 and green, but not a 2/3.
Correct.
Notably. And this show is dedicated to 2/3. So I'm going to move into my second pick, which is hilariously the same casting cost, 1 green, for an Augur of Autumn. This is a human druid, 2/3, obviously, that lets you look at the top of your library at any time. I like this option because it's look at. You don't have to play with it revealed like some of the other choices that fill a similar role. It always lets you play lands from the top of your library. That is subtle, closeted card draw. You can keep a mitt full and keep shoving out lands. You don't want to top deck those anyway. You're going to play them from off the top. And then it introduced this Coven ability. It came out with this set in 2021. As long as you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. It does everything I want to do. It's card draw on this unassuming creature. There's human synergies with this. You're going for a whole mess of creatures. You're probably playing some big dumb green stompy build, and you got a 7/5 and a 8/8 on the board. So you're going to be covened rather quickly, and you're going to have access to this card draw. If you don't like it, there's 100 ways to shuffle your library, especially in green, and you can get the next new card.
Yeah, I think fetch lands work really, really well with Augur of Autumn. The thing I love the most about this, and it's probably why you love Taeyam, right? This
big Taeyam boy,
big Taeyam boy here, and I like. Do you play this in your list?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, it's one of those.
I probably should, but I do not.
Well, it's a hard thing to squeeze in when you're wanting to play cEDH, but it like provides with Taeyam the number of creatures you're going to have at any given time with counters on them will make that Coven ability just like become alive so quickly. So yeah, Augur of Autumn, when it first came out, I just remember it being like this. It was like a spotlight card. Everybody wanted it because this is the first time that was like, oh, so easy to achieve card advantage off of it, and then also cast creatures. So
specifically, the extended border version is wonderful art. It's a great looking card. I'm a big fan of that style of card, and they just happened to print a really good card in that style. If you are part of the MoxStars Discord already, I posted some other cards in there this week that came in the mail, and notably the VV I purchased, which now seems to be a great time now that they're talking about banning the thing out of standard, also in that art style. Very cool to look at. So specifically that version.
Nice. All right, I'm going into my number 2 pick.
Alice.
Aboleth Spawn. If you have not heard or played with Aboleth Spawn, it came from Baldur's Gate. Dungeons and Dragons, that second set, and it was from a commander deck. It was from the horror deck. And Aboleth Spawn is a 2 and a blue for a fish horror 2/3. Thank you, Dr. Pepper. Praise thee. It has Flash, Ward 2, and then an ability called Probing Telepathy that says, whenever a creature entering the battlefield under an opponent's control causes a triggered ability of that creature to trigger, you may copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. This is one of my favorite commander cards. Like, I don't play blue that often, but when I do, I weasel this little guy in there all the time. Like, because to have something that you can cast at instant speed, like, I think Flash, obviously super underrated. But it's...
I found in like the lower power levels, when you're playing in 2s and 3s and maybe even some 4s, the breadth of the card pool expands. You're going to see weirder stuff. And oddly enough, where that ETB grabbing effect comes up the most often, in the most niche moments, the times where you're going to talk to your buddies about that game for forever after resolving that effect, happens in those lower power games, and it can happen with Aboleth Spawn. I think that's a really cool pick.
Yeah, the reason that I love it so much is due to Wizards undoing like their seemingly unending hunger to print new cards that say, whenever this creature enters or attacks, do this thing. And so Aboleth Spawn is feeding off of the power creep that Wizards of the Coast continues to go on their power trip. And like, I just think that this card over time just continues to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, I stumbled on this card when Dockside was still in the format, and I was so... Like, there's so many times where I'd held up mana waiting for someone to go for the Dockside, and it's like, yes, I would also like infinite mana, thank you. It's like, yeah. And I will get it first. So it's one of those cards that to me has a special place in my heart because it does just come out of nowhere. It steals your opponent's, it doesn't steal it, but it copies your opponent's best ETB trigger, and then if they don't have removal or they don't value this removal, it's sort of like Wandering Archaic in a way, but it sticks and then it just keeps farming ETBs all game long. So I love Aboleth Spawn. I think that's why I put it at number 2. I have some spicy ones. Then my next 3 are still really spicy, but you'll get to hear them in just a second.
Yeah, after Menace discusses the Aboleth Spawn, we're gonna, beautiful segue by the way, going into what seems to be our replacement for Dockside, which is my number 2 pick of Treasonous Ogre. In reviewing and preparing for this discussion, I did a lot of research on what 2/3s were even out there, and I was shocked to find this one fit the bill. It is 3 and a red for an Ogre Shaman with Dethrone. That's funny. I didn't actually know it had that. That never comes up.
Nobody knows.
It's a 2/3 that lets you pay 3 life for 1 red mana. And why I love this card so much, if this was designed today, if you were talking with your buddies and you're like, let's design a Magic card, let's make something, what would it be? And then somebody threw this idea at you, you'd be like, you could never print that. That is so broken. No shot that could be printed today. But in 2014, they were overachievers. They were ahead of the game. They were printing stuff like this. There's 100 ways to abuse this. But most importantly, the dethrone trigger. No, I'm just kidding. Most importantly, a 2/3 that gives us some sort of substitution for a Dockside. Not the best. I don't think we could ever truly replace Dockside, but this has to be close to the next best thing. Rest in peace, Dockside.
Praise Dr. Pepper. I feel the same way about Treasonous Ogre. It was in consideration because of how high the ceiling goes with it, right? It's like It is a staple in mono red cEDH. It is, it goes right into Atali, which is Gruul, but still, it gets you to Atali, and that one trigger can be enough to cast, to waterfall you into the win. So Treasonous Ogre, even in things like Ral, where it just it provides you the mana to keep casting instants and sorceries, and then get your Ral to flip and get the Mind's Desire to go off. It's Treasonous Ogre is one of the most abusable cards in all of Magic, and it's just easier than ever to get to 4 mana these days.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. A lot of red decks are racing to a number. Godo of days past, Zada, Hedron Grinder, Ral. They're all racing to get their commander out and get their pieces together and start casting spells. This changes the math. They don't need to race to 9 mana. They don't need to race to 11 mana. They need to race to 4, and then they get the rest.
Yeah. All right. My third pick, Treasonous Ogre, amazing. I don't know if I can top it, honestly, for how powerful the card is. But
you texted me and you're like, well, if I'm going first, I'm going to start off with a banger. I'm going to start off with easily the best one. And I was sure you were going with Treasonous Ogre.
Yeah, I could have. I definitely could have. And then I was like, and then my number 2 pick, I was like, I want to have my flavor pick here too. It's like when you're, drafting in fantasy football, it's like, that's my guy. I got it. He's my guy. I don't care if someone's higher up in the rankings or whatever. If I don't pick him here, there's a chance you pick him. And so that's why I had to take Abelispawn. I don't know how much you value Abelispawn, but the next card I'm choosing is actually so powerful that it was banned in multiple formats. And my third pick is Agent of Treachery. It is 5 and 2 blue for a magic card from Core 20. Human Rogue, 2/3. Praise Dr. Pepper. When Agent of Treachery enters the battlefield, gain control of target permanent. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 3 or more permanents you don't own, draw 3 cards. So why was this banned it was banned in Standard when it was around, and it was banned in Historic and in Brawl on Arena because it is so easily breakable. I've played against it in Commander too, and if you are playing some sort of Blink strategy, this is going to take over the game. It does every single time. And most of the time, you're not casting it for 7 mana. There's some sort of reanimation or, cheating of the card onto the battlefield. So Agent of Treachery is one of those cards where I think when I read it the first time, I said 7 mana? 7 mana for this effect? There's no way. There's no way. And then all of a sudden it's this card's ruining Standard. I was like, this doesn't make sense. And then I watched a few games and I was like, oh, I can't remember exactly what the cards in conjunction were with it. But Agent of Treachery as a historical pick, because this is one of the strongest 2/3s to ever be printed into Standard. So much so that it got banned in multiple formats. So, Agent of Treachery, go and steal all of your opponent's permanents. It takes takes permanents.
You mentioned it being 7 mana. That's kind of nuts. And I was going to make the comment, for 7 mana, it better win you the game, but it sounds like it did. That's exactly what it was doing. Whether you casted it for 7 mana, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
a lot of the times, if you were playing this in Standard, even in Commander, it's it's not that hard to get to 7 mana in a casual game anymore. And the thing is, this has that weird type of effect where it breaks parity by stealing a permanent, but then it also causes feel bads because it's that's my thing. That's my thing. How dare you touch my thing? But yeah, I think great card. Great card.
Great pick. It's going to be tough to top, but I'm about to do it. I apologize. I gave you 3 chances to pick this card, and it has been left undrafted, so I'm seizing my opportunity.
I'm guessing what it is in the search bar right now.
Okay, well, I'm taking my opportunity to break faces. This is the professional face breaker for Tuna Red. It's a 2/3. Every time you said praise Dr. Pepper, I imagine like the sound of a can opening, like a can cracking. So if you could add that audio, that would be super helpful. It's a human warrior with Menace.
Hey,
I was sure this was.
Yeah, it was such a low hanging fruit.
Oh, but it's so good because whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. So this can make you 3 treasures. This can pay for itself the first turn it comes out. And if you don't need those treasures, if you don't need that mana, you can sack them for some temporary card draw. Exile the top card of your library, and you can play it this turn. Thank you, New Capenna, for blessing us with this card. Combat tricks, making deals, just trying to get in. It does everything you want to do for your Tymna lists, all of the blue enchantments that say when it deals damage, draw a card. So it works in a variety of colors. It's not as parasitic as maybe the Treasonous Ogre option. Or the Silvala option. Cares about treasures. I'm a big treasure guy. We were worried about Wizards early on kind of overdoing it with the treasure thing, and this was kind of in the discussion at the peak because of how good it was. So the Menace helps it get through itself once you're able to attack with it and grant you a ton of value.
Yeah, I agree. Professional Facebreaker, when it came out, I spec'd it super hard. It was coming out at like $6 just for the standard print, and I really wanted the borderless foil because I was a big foil hunter at the time, and that's what I valued. And I went out and I spent $25 a piece on 4 of them, and that spec didn't work out. It didn't. It like maybe for a minute it did, but I bought it because I was like, this is going in every red commander deck that I own. Like it's that good. It does, like you said at the time, where treasures were the prominent strategy. It was just like, yeah, this is an auto include. It just encapsulates all of that. Where like Dockside turns into card draw or card advantage, you know, and that was where I saw its value. I was like, in tandem with Dockside, you played this. Like, even if you dropped a Dockside and got 6, and then you played a Professional Facebreaker for 3, you still technically get like 3 more cards advantage. So, and then this was also the same time that Prosper was like big. So yeah, Facebreaker is a legend, and yeah, I didn't take it because I was like, I thought it was low hanging fruit for myself because it says Menace on it. But it's it's the perfect 2/3. Like,
yeah, I think you were correct. I mean, other than the spec, the price of this thing, you were 100% correct on everything. It is a tough card.
Yeah, I still play it in Pioneer. Like, it goes in my Labyrinth Raptor deck.
I think this goes in any red deck.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, my fourth.
Right. Round 4.
My 4th pick. I'm naming this card because it has not gotten the respect that it deserves, and because it is a prospective soul card for a deck that I want to build. And that is Mila, Crafty Companion. So this is a mythic rare from Strixhaven. It is 1 and 2 white, a legendary creature fox. Whenever an opponent attacks 1 or more planeswalkers you control, put a loyalty counter on each planeswalker you control. Whenever a permanent you control becomes a target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. And then you can cast it. You can cast it for the alternative side, which is Luca. It's a 6 mana planeswalker. And So this is technically a Boros card, but Luca enters with 5 loyalty. And for a +1, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. If a creature card was discarded this way, draw 2 cards instead. So kind of like that Lord Windgrace effect, but instead of being a land, you discard a creature. -2, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of your next upkeep. So you get to keep it the whole go around the table, and then your next upkeep. So it can defend you. It can, like provide some sort of like board state advantage. And then -7. If you get to the ultimate, you're probably winning the game, but you get an emblem with whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So the Warstorm Surge effect, I think Terror of the Peaks sort of like outclassed this, like big time. But I believe that Mila, the front side, having card advantage and Planeswalker synergies can be a really, really cool build around as a 2/3. Praise Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, it gives you that flexibility depending on whatever you need at the time. If you are way late into the game and you just need to protect your existing planeswalkers, you fire off the Mila side. And if you're getting started, you need some card selection, you need to get your engines rolling. Backside Luca gives you those cards.
Yeah, this is this technically gives you a planeswalker in the command zone if you wanted to build around it. So really cool versatility on a card that has seen little to no play. And here's the thing, I've never really built into planeswalker strategies. There's a million of them out there, right? But I feel like this can be the soul card of a planeswalker strategy that I really want to build. So that is why it is my 4th pick. I think the ceiling on this is way higher than people give it credit for.
Yeah, I'm really reading into that -2 ability. If you can get a creature with a tap ability, getting that twice seems really good before you have to get rid of it.
Yeah. All right, number 4 for you.
I went back and forth on 2 of them, but I think where I'm going to land is Jaheira, Friend of the Forest. For 2 and a green, you get a 2/3. Praise Dr. Pepper. It has an ability. It's a legend. Tokens you control have tap, add a green, and choose a background. Choose a background hardly ever comes up. Not super concerned with that. What I'm concerned with is that first line of text, because many of my decks love junk piles. I am going to put a mass of stuff on the board. I'm going to have 16 different triggers firing off that I'm going to remember half of. And chances are when that's all happening, I'm making some tokens in the process. So why not ramp out of it? Green has hundreds, thousands of ramp options. To me and the garbage piles I accumulate, this is my favorite. The tokens, typically not creatures, if I'm making foods or clues, can tap right away and accumulate some more value.
Yeah, I think this deck gets even better with like Edge of Eternities too, because you get the lander tokens, and like there are a lot of really good cards that just create tokens out of that set. And like Jaheira, it's so open-ended. It's any token. Just tokens you control have tap, add a green. So like there are some tokens that are created like during combat that have haste, and then they exile themselves at the end step. So there's the opportunity to like boost yourself like in main phase 2 with Jaheira at the helm. So yeah, I love this card. It's always been like one of those cards I look at and I'm like, how do I build this like specifically? Haven't quite taken the time to wrap my mind around it yet.
I mean, you talked soul cards earlier.
This is a
legend
top candidate.
Any legend? Say it again. It's a what?
Oh, it's a top candidate as like a soul card for sure.
Oh, yes. Any commander you have that says make a token, okay, great. I'm going to slam Jaheira in there because chances are that mana is going to let me make more tokens, and I'm going to add to my junk pile. You're going to have a garbage heap.
In combination with Doubling Season or Parallel Lives too, it gets crazy. It gets crazy. The mana generation. All right.
Okay, last round. Make this count.
Number 5. I know that you're listening to this and you're all screaming. You're all screaming, Menace, do the right thing. Just pick it. Just pick it. It's the best 2/3 in cEDH right now. It's probably the best 2/3. But I can't. Why? I can't. My own personal flavor will not allow me to choose that card. So instead, I'm choosing Fear of Missing Out. This card came out in Duskmourn. It is an enchantment creature nightmare. When Fear of Missing Out enters, discard a card, then draw a card. And this is a standard all-star right now, but it has Delirium. Whenever Fear of Missing Out attacks for the first time each turn, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, untap target creature. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So let me walk you through Fear of Missing Out. Fear of Missing Out is a combo piece with Kiki-Jiki. So Kiki-Jiki taps, creates a copy of Fear of Missing Out. It also allows you to draw and discard your entire library. So, but it comes in with haste as long as you have Delirium, which you likely will be. You likely will have Delirium because when it enters, you discard and then draw. But when it attacks, because the token is given haste, you get to untap a target creature. So you untap Kiki-Jiki, and then you tap Kiki-Jiki, create another copy of the Fear of Missing Out, draw another card, discard another card, swing again. You know, it's like you keep getting these combat steps. And it's one of the coolest cards, and it definitely saved my Shalai and Halar build because for a while, as I was like, the game was evolving, the format was evolving. I was running out of card draw options, or like I didn't have enough card draw options. A lot of the time I was just like falling into wins, you know, whether the game went long enough because I stacked it out or just because I drew the right things at the right time. There was no forced like card draw or no card advantage happening in the deck. It was all just sort of naturally falling into place. And we all know that now, if you're in cEDH, that's not the way to be. You have to proactively go after, like, you have to be able to trigger card advantage. And that's what Fear of Missing Out, even though it's small, it is an enchantment creature. It boosts the Serra's Sanctum count. It boosts the Sanctum Weaver count. Like, there were a bunch of different synergies that I was like putting together to make Fear of Missing Out really shine. So on top of that, also being a win condition with Kiki-Jiki. So Fear of Missing Out.
You look at every other card we've talked about. This is the lowest costed. This has to be the most pushed. One in a red, you get card selection, you get multiple permanent types, you get a 2/3. Thank you, Dr. Pepper, and then, like you said, extra combats. That could be a win condition right there. 1 extra combat. It doesn't have to be infinite combats. You don't have to loop this thing. But your opponent is counting on you dealing 4 damage next turn, and then he's going to deal 4 damage, and then you're going to... They're doing this math in their head, and then you surprise them with this and blow them out of the water.
Yeah, it's better than advertised, and it's climbing in price. Like, it's one of those cards that when it came out, it was 50 cents. It's now $6 for the lowest... like for the lowest one. So it's a good card. It's a really good card. I couldn't pass this up. And it's done so much for my Naya decks since I build into Enchantress a lot. It's a mainstay now. It's just super easy to drop down, and it's not a threat until Kiki-Jiki comes down, so people oftentimes just overlook it.
All right, you led into your Fear of Missing Out with I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do the cEDH staple, and I'm trying to figure out what you were talking about. Is it Grand Arbiter? Is it Zoo-Ephit, the Osteoharmonist? Or is it Electro, the Assaulting Battery? It's the one we talked about. If you haven't caught the podcast from last week, Electro Assaulting Battery, another great card coming out in Spider-Man that could have fit in that description. I'm curious which one you were talking about.
I'll spoil it after you make your next pick.
Okay, because I am going to pick... you can play this in cEDH. I've seen it done. I've had it happen to me. It's the Druid of Purification. For 3 and a green, you get a 2/3. It's a human druid, and when it enters, starting with you, each player may choose an artifact or enchantment you don't control, destroying each permanent chosen this way. This is something you can cast under the illusion of helping the table. But what it truly does is 3-for-1 your opponents. In Commander, you are always punished for using your interaction, destroying other people's things, because there's 2 people at the table that were not affected. So even though you might have stopped somebody from getting ahead, you just pushed 2 others ahead. Druid of Purification breaks that. You get to be the good guy. You get to be the hero. You earn that table's favor, and you're the only one that was unaffected. You got another body for your Gaia's Cradle. And in the process, you dumped on a Rhystic Study, a Mystic Remora, and a Smothering Tithe. And you're the hero for it, and you just cut off all of their advantage. Druid of Purification, I think, really has legs, especially when you can get it into a few other colors. You can make copies of this or flicker it. And each time we talked about ETBs in Commander previously, and how there's some good options, some are great. This is one of those I would want to include in that conversation in what we're flickering and what we're making copies of.
Yeah, this is great, and it involves the table. Like, I think one of the worst things is when a decision is made that doesn't involve you, right? It feels like you've been offended, especially if it destroys something that you controlled. So this allows your opponents to sort of like pick and choose and create villains amongst themselves. Like, why'd you pick my thing? Like, you know, and it's like no one ever looks back at the druid and says that's what caused it. It's like, no, my opponent picked the thing, like they caused it. And so I see where this is like one of the more valuable political pieces you can play at a table, and just pit everybody against each other, and you just sit there and sort of like, yeah, twiddle your thumbs, have a good time while everyone else picks and chooses their own demise.
And I'm sorry, did I say 3-for-1? I meant 4-for-1.
So you get to choose too. You get to participate.
Yeah. This is 4 nature claims in one card.
Hey, there's a chance. Now, here's the thing: not to burst the bubble, but there is a chance that everyone just picks the same thing.
Sure, that can't happen. But that's them seeing through your nice guy politics and who's really doing that.
Yeah. All right. The card I was talking about is Derevi. Derevi is a 2/3.
Oh, sure, of course. Yep.
Yeah, it's a cEDH All-Star. My 12 that I didn't, I had Archon of Emeria, Gwenna, Eyes of Gaia, Varagoth, Derevi, Samut, Vizier of Noctamoon, Mirkwood Bats, Halana and Elena, and Destiny Spinner.
You had some great cards on there. It's funny how we each had 12, and like there's very little overlap. I had the Zui Fit Will Breaker. I thought went really well with your Agent of Treachery. I had Maronar, Lobelia, Sackville, Baggins. I don't think enough people are playing Lobelia, the Sackville Baggins. I think that is a really great pick. And I had an honorable mention. Shouts out to Menace. The first Commander deck I ever had was built by Menace himself. It was Atla Palani Nest Tender. Has a very special place in my heart. It's what got me into Commander. So I just wanted to give that a shout out.
Yeah, I did see that on there too, and I was like, I remember when this card came out, and the Thornbite Staff or whatever it was called, like the combo that, you know, trying to put that all together in the deck, so much fun. All right. That is our Dr. Pepper draft of the greatest 2/3s of all time. If you'd like to name your favorite 2/3 and contribute to the Dr. Pepper Mayhem, feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube channel or on your favorite podcast platform. Now, today we wanted to be done before an hour, which means we have about 10 minutes and then a little bit outro to happen, and we wanted to touch base on mana, like mana generation, ramping, and what it means for each color. I don't know if we can cover it all in 10 minutes, but we're gonna try. So, Rampage, where would you like to start on this?
I want to talk about our deceased brethren to start off. That's truly what triggered this conversation. 1 year ago, we lost Dockside Extortionist, Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, one other, can't remember, probably not important. We lost those, and we're like, now, what's cEDH going to look like? How fast are we truly going to be able to go? And that led us to into the discussion of ramp, wanting to understand how each color ramps and who's truly the king. And I think what we've decided is that colorless is truly the king of ramp. It's undisputed, it's hyper flexible, and it's honestly probably the best choice. There's not one specific color that can hold a torch to what colorless ramp can do.
Yeah, I mean, they've given us two of the best cards in all of Magic in colorless, and they're in every commander deck. Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. Like, it's the go-to thing. Like,
That's the dreaded start. You see your opponent start off, I'm going to play land, cast Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, turn. Okay, cool. You're going to have 5 mana on your second turn. Good luck, me.
Yeah, there have been times where it's like land, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, tap the Signet for Esper Sentinel. It's like, let's go. Oh. You can't stop that. Like, what are you going to do? You got to give me at least one card if you want to stop me. So it's like colorless. Yeah, obviously with Mana Vault and stuff like that, it takes a leap above everything else. And not only that, but all of your ramp options and all of the artifacts that help you generate mana in colorless, like that are zeros, donuts, so to speak, are also potentially like combo pieces. So you have Chrome Mox, which doesn't really combo with anything, but like Mox Opal, Mox Jasper if you really try hard. And then things like Lotus Petal, Displacer Kitten, and Eternal Witness. Like, those are combo lines that you can put in your deck if you're in those colors. But then, like, you also have Lion's Eye Diamond. So there are just these powerful cards that exist out there from Magic's way back. They're like the history of Magic. These cards got printed at one point, and they just continue to be powerhouses. While some of them are game changers, they just continue to be powerhouses in Commander, which makes, and they add color. It's like, that's the other thing is if they were limited to just adding colorless because they're colorless artifacts, it's like, well, yeah, then maybe, but even, yeah, Mox Amber too. Another donut that generates mana in the right deck. It's incredibly powerful. It basically becomes like a Mox Ruby in Rogue Rack. So, yeah.
So if we're excluding colorless, I asked the question, what is our best color? We know colorless is best. We're gonna skip through that. What options do we like? And I thought I had some expectations going in, doing some research, that I didn't know what it was going to be. I think red has a lot of good options. I think black has a lot of good options. I know in casual Commander, everyone's like, oh, green is the king. When I first got started, everyone was talking about, is green too powerful because of all these ramp options? And you get the classic Commander Cultivates and Rampant Growths and Farseeks and Nature's Lower and 3 Visits and all these phenomenal ramp options. I don't know if you're not in green, what are you doing? How are you getting mana? And then so I'm like, well, what is it now? Because nobody's playing Cultivates anymore. I hardly see a Nature's Lore ever. What are we doing in the 3s and 4s, even some 5s? What we're playing with in the MoxStars lounge? What is still strong? And in looking in decks, I think green is still king. whatever option you're into, whatever you're doing, creature strategies, you got your Cryptolith rights. If you want to do enchantment stuff, like I know Menace loves, you have your Wild Growths, Utopia Sprawls, 1 mana enchantments that are super safe, safer than the Mana Dorks, the Carpet of Flowers of the world. And even if you're on Mana Dorks, they're still excellent. They're still phenomenal. You get Lotus Cobra for your Lumber Loops. Enduring Vitality has been a unkillable powerhouse. Everyone is going for their uncounterable Delighted Halfling or Bloom Tenders, making chunks of mana. I still think green is on top, even in high power.
Hey, Sanctum Weaver, my guy.
Underplayed. Truly is underplayed. It is so good and so abusable.
Yeah, like you're right. Yeah, I think green's still the king, and it comes down to one card that makes green better than all of the other cards, and it's Gaia's Cradle. Like, it's the most busted land in all of Magic, and it's somehow still legal. But we were talking about this on text, about like what, since the 1 year has passed since Dockside's banning, what could potentially get banned? And like, I think you proposed that maybe Gaia's Cradle could go. And then I was like, well, that would kill everything outside of Blue Farm. Like, Blue Farm would just become the only deck worth playing in all of cEDH. And so, like, it's something that is necessary. It becomes necessary because it's the only way to battle this sheer card advantage that you get from every other color outside of green. That's the one thing green struggles with the most. While it is the king of ramp and it helps you get to other things, it does struggle with card draw. So Gaia's Cradle is one of those cards that just like helps you shoot ahead. And as you're developing your board state, like the number of combos like Derevi we talked about earlier. Derevi and Gaia's Cradle with Thrasios is, it's disgusting. It's really good. It's a really good strategy.
I think it shows how flexible and innovative the cEDH community is. Once we lost the Dockside powerhouses, the Jeweled Lotus, okay, what is the next thing that can make chunks of mana? And there were decks doing Gaia's Cradle stuff before. I don't want to act like the bans of last year, showed the world what Gaia's Cradle was, but it really made the cEDH community lean into abusing our existing options. Everything that they were doing with Selvala, making sure they can untap it and tap it for mana again. They were finding ways to do this, making Gaia's Cradle the deck. A lot of Rog Thras lists are just finding ways of abusing this land and utilizing that green mana.
Yeah, and then after green, it like you said, all the dorks in the world that you have, outside of green, like what becomes the next best color to help you ramp? And you might have a different opinion. I might.
Do you agree we have two options here?
Yes, I think. I guess. Yes, I'm going to say yes.
And it's red and black.
Yes, it's red and black. I was going to say red, but black also. Obviously, like Dark Ritual is one of the strongest cards in all of Magic too, so it's hard to deny that statement. But like red with all of its rituals, like Desperate Ritual and all those types of things, Seething Song, have found their way into cEDH to prove that like red, while it still does generate tons of treasures, like through Facebreaker and Ragavan. I for a long time said Ragavan was the best mana dork in Magic the Gathering. I don't know if that's the case anymore. I think with how the format has changed, that Deathrite Shaman might just be the best mana dork in cEDH, just due to like its ability to interact with the grave in a meaningful way. But it's like red can shoot out of a cannon. It sacrifices card advantage in the hand to generate a bunch of mana. Jessica's Will, all these crazy rituals that just put you 5 to 7 mana in your pool, and then you use the rest of the cards in your disposal to like shoot ahead and break parity. So or land that combo line.
Yeah, I think we just did the Dr. Pepper draft. My 2 red choices on my list made mana.
Yeah. The Treasonous Ogre is just the best option.
That's what I want my red cards doing.
Yeah, and then you have...
If they are not named Underworld Breach, I want them making mana. Stormkiln Artist.
Bergie now. Like
Bergie's on there for sure, yeah.
Yeah, Bergie, Electro, now that you have, like, there are all these... I think you could call them batteries, right? Like, I know Electro just sort of got spoiled, but I think we might have a classification for that type of effect. And they're batteries, right? Because they generate energy, or like they generate mana to allow you to keep rolling. So... like obviously,
sure.
Electro.
Oh yeah, you're playing the game. You're attacking. You're drawing cards. You're casting spells. Here's some mana.
Yeah, and black, I would say, it does, like, it has Cabal Coffers, and that was the legendary combo when I first got into Magic. Was the Cabal Coffers and Urborg. Like, combo is like, oh yeah, everything's a swamp, and now Cabal Coffers goes crazy. And like then there was Cabal, it's like some Cabal Stronghold from Dominaria as well. Sure. Does a very similar
Diet effect. Coffers. Yep.
Yeah, Diet Coffers. Diet Dr. Pepper.
I do love black leaning into swamps. So your Crypt Gas, things of that nature, your Bubbling Mucks for those really explosive turns. Sacrifice all of your Hoarding Broodlord lines. Also, what I think we missed and probably matters as far as ramp goes is the cheating of mana costs. So like a Reanimate can get you a 9-drop for 1 mana. I don't know if that's exactly ramp, but it should be counted under black's mana making ability.
Maybe it's better to count it as like mana representation.
There
right?
You go.
Like, because it represents a lot of mana while you are using your life. And I think that's where black like ramps or has the representation of mana with like things like Bolas' Citadel, where it can, and Keurig, where it's like it represents a ton of mana, but you're using your life total as that resource. So, and then even then, red has a lot of really great options with reduction, where it's like I think most effects that reduce outside of like this the medallions, like red is mostly like the representation of mana is through cost reduction. So like I think when I was talking to Atlas, I'm not sure if you've ever or you know of Atlas, or if you've listened to the show, we've had Atlas on before, but Atlas was a big fan of like Agatha of the Vile Cauldron from Wilds of Eldraine because of how much mana it represented, because things would like activated abilities would cost less for equal to Agatha's power. So it was like, oh yeah, Kenrith, put a counter on Agatha. Now all of my activated abilities cost that much less, and it saves me that much mana. My mana goes that much further because I have this cost reduction effect. So what do we say about white? What do we say about white and blue?
Blue is, I don't know. I think blue is in the same vein as the colorless spells, right? It relies heavily on artifacts, so it can get you mana. You have every mage, the tribute mage, the transit mage, they can all get things that present mana, but they're really leaning into that colorless category. They're like I don't know, colorless mana is like blue's big brother. Like you don't pick on blue because it's just gonna go get his big brother to defend it. So I don't know, for that, I don't know, it's a little dork, it's a nerd, it's a dweeb. I don't want to hang out with blue in the mana conversation. I think white does very well when paired with other stuff. So white on its own, what do you have? Smothering Tithe.
Yeah,
and that's it.
It's one of the strongest cards out there.
Once you dip your toe into other colors, you get your Fabro Elder, and your Lothos. Things white can do with some other homies that makes it a little stronger.
Yeah, like white, I think, and that's, you can also tailor that into the tandem that any card gets from green as well, because green in conjunction with like black can help generate additional mana. And then you talk about like, so blue, quick before we jump off that too fast. Urza is probably the best form of that effect, where it's like, oh, but this is a blue card generating mana. Like, you do have to tap an artifact to make it happen, but it's like, yeah, this is something that helps. Like, this is why Urza became so strong, is why it was so powerful when it first came out, was because this was like the first type of effect we ever saw in blue that allowed you to generate mana. So people were like, what? Self-feeding? And then obviously the activated ability at the, for 5 mana, you shuffle your library and then exile the top card, and then generating infinite mana, you just play your whole library. So yeah, it's Urza was really that first effect in blue, but then blue just really hasn't gotten anything outside of that. I think you could say, like, in certain strategies, and this still banks on artifacts like Emery, Lurker of the Lock, reduces Emery's cost is reduced by number of artifacts you control, so you can still get some like wicked advantage off of being able to recast Emery a lot. And then, like, gosh, what else?
Yeah,
I could say like Eluge.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Doing some island stuff. Yeah, I don't know. When I think blue ramp, I either think training grounds for the cost reduction, kind of like what you were saying earlier for red, for activated abilities, or specifically and only High Tide.
Oh, High Tide. Yeah, that's true. And then for white, I would say that Serra Sanctum is obviously one of my favorite cards of all time, because I build into enchantments a lot. But it's one card that does not get the respect that Gaia's Cradle gets. But we're now starting to see a lot more enchantments come into the game and be playable. So I do think Serra Sanctum, if you don't have one, you should go out and get one, like Rampage did.
Yes, those pictures, those photos are in the MoxStars Discord. Go check those out.
Proof that he did purchase one. You never told me how much it was. I guess I could just look it up on TCG Player.
Yeah, I think it was like $320. I don't know, some dumb amount.
Yeah, that seems about right. Yeah, I haven't had one in such a long time. I ended up selling mine a while back, and I regret it because I definitely did not sell it for that much. All right.
Yeah. So once Gaia's Cradle gets banned, we got to figure out how to boost Serra Sanctum and tap and untap it. Enduring
Vitality's through the roof. All right. Any final thoughts on ramp? This is a discussion that we will continue to have, I'm sure, as time goes on. But for the moment, I feel like we've covered the colors at least a little bit, in like being, like highlighting their strengths, and then also just dunking on blue a whole bunch.
Yeah. No notes from me. I don't think we had any hot takes here. I'm excited to see the future of ramp. I think the game is only getting faster. I'm curious to see what the state of ramp looks like with such efficient 0-drop options in colorless, as you mentioned earlier. How much moving forward with creatures and any spells really getting more and more efficient, how much we're going to rely on the ramp we just discussed in the future. Will Magic speed up enough? Will we get enough 0 and 1-drop options where we are forfeiting our ramp slots to more gas?
Will basic lands ever actually be good? Will Flare of Cultivation see play? Those are the questions that I need answered. All right. Yeah, we did it. Woo! Right about an hour. So if you'd like to support the show, you can do so by finding us on YouTube, where you can like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more notifications. You can also find us on all podcasting platforms. Leave us a 5-star review, obviously, because Dr. Pepper is king of sodas. Justified cause, leave us a 5-star review. We love Dr. Pepper. That's it. That's my reasoning. You can also find us on Patreon by becoming an official Pepperhead. You can support us for $3 a month. Have your name turned Dr. Pepper Red on the Discord server and jump in that Discord server. Join some games, jam some games with Rampage and I. I'm trying to get on more on Mondays, and then Rampage is just firing games off whenever you feel like it. So hop on there, really get in there, and provoke some discussion. Tell us what your favorite cards are. Any final thoughts, Rampage?
Nope. In that Discord, we're playing 3s and 4s and 5s. We're pretty focused on that 4 category. We like to abuse the cards we talked about today without playing like strict cEDH. So if that's your vibe, if that's what you're into, come hang out.
Good times all around. All right. We're out of here. Fleam!